good way to go.
I'm
Hey,
gonna.
Carl, we are live.
Woohoo! Yay! I'm in my new
Yeah,
digs here
your new
in
digs.
my
Oh,
in my mountain chalet. I just
Mount
switched on you.
Yeah, you threw me off there for a moment. Your mountain chalet, is that Mount Takao or Mount Fuji or
This is in just near Mount Fuji. I'm in
Mount?
my. It's so hot today. I had to get to my Hishochi. I don't even know what that is in English. Uh,
Your summer house, your cottage,
yeah,
right?
the place to go to get away from the heat, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, how we doing today? How is our oh, I don't see a guest count.
I
What's
I'm looking for our the YouTube one. I'm gonna because usually I pull it up and then I can see what's going on.
Yeah,
Although,
usually uh,
okay, it looks like I'm looking at
oh, there it
myself.
is.
So
I
one
got it.
watching now. So
Oh, you
it
got
seems
one
like
watching? I
well,
still
it's
have
probably
zero.
me. It's probably me.
Yeah, I have zero watching right now.
Okay.
But it's probably my fault because I didn't put up the notice that I usually put
Mm-hmm.
up. I didn't put it up until about 10 or 15 minutes ago because I forgot.
Okay.
Like Saturday live stream. Join us for the Saturday live stream fun. I forgot to put it up. So I'm sure people will come moseying in there as they realize that we are here,
Okay.
unannounced, uninvited,
Well,
unexpurgated.
same bad channel, same bad time, same bad channel. Is that how that works?
Yeah,
So
yeah. Yeah, the reason I was late and didn't get anything done until the last minute is because I was making another video.
okay.
And yeah, and it was I wanted to get it up before we did this so we
Hmm.
could talk about it, but unfortunately that video is not getting very much attention. So
I
it's not
Oh, no, go ahead. I saw that there was a video. I didn't. I was getting ready for this, so I didn't see what the video was about. So
yeah. It's about the how American propaganda shifted from Japanese people or Japan is a bunch of devils
hmm
to Japan is a land of cool wa and all that and why they
so,
did it.
so,
So
so well,
little bit, little bit, what shall I say? A little bit serious. Okay.
we've got a Swiss Tanuki here. Hello from Switzerland. Hello from Japan.
Oh, Swiss Tanuki. Hey, hey. Yeah, I Swiss Tanuki has commented before
Okay.
on our videos. Thank you for that. Good to see you, Swiss Tanuki. Are you really in Switzerland, Swiss Tanuki?
Uh, why would we not take them at their word?
Well, I mean, this is the internet after all, right?
So
Uh, nothing against Swiss Tanuki, of course, but
yes. And like I
yeah,
said, I'm in my Swiss chalet here, but it
yeah,
probably
your Swiss chalet.
doesn't look very Swiss chalet. And
I got to get, these, I'm trying to center myself in the camera and, you
hmm
move the way you think you're supposed to move, and then you start going the opposite direction. Hi,
hmm
Kelvin. Well, Switzerland and Alabama. What a combination. And he
there we
says he
go.
is in Switzerland. Oh, I remember now. Swiss Tanuki said he is in Switzerland now, but planning to come to Japan, planning to move to Japan. Is that what you were saying?
Did,
I
didn't we have a
remember.
German guy in that who was considering moving to Japan?
Yeah,
Um, so,
yeah,
but that's
yeah.
probably a different person.
Different person. That was amazing audio, if I remember correctly. Yeah,
Or, yep.
yeah. Swiss Tanuki. In this, when researching my latest video, I found out that at the time that at the end of World War II, I think it was MacArthur. MacArthur stated that he wanted to make Japan the Asian Switzerland. Hmm. So,
So when I think of Switzerland as somebody who hasn't spent any significant amount of time there, it's a neutral country. Everybody has guns. Everybody's disciplined. They make chocolate and watches. So how would MacArthur make Japan like Switzerland? I guess Japan makes good watches.
yeah, well,
Um,
yeah, he was right in that regard.
probably not when MacArthur was here, but
Hmm.
uh, in what way did he want? I guess the other main thing is neutrality, right?
Neutrality, yeah, and a kind of bulwark, peaceful bulwark, maybe. I don't know.
Sure,
Who knows what MacArthur was thinking anyway, huh? Yeah.
sure.
But yeah, it was pretty interesting. When I read it, I also felt, So Swiss Tanuki said he met his wife in the U.S. learning English. That's interesting. So you lived in the U.S. too. Lives in Switzerland, went to the U.S., now in Switzerland, coming to Japan. Must be a rich Swiss guy, huh? Yeah.
I think
Back at
everybody in Switzerland is rich.
back in Fukuoka, when I was first came here, I knew a Swiss guy there, and we were both young guys in those days, and he was such a happy, funny guy. His name was Pius
Fuse.
Emenegger. Yeah, and I was talking to him, and we were talking about everybody has a gun in Switzerland because everybody's part
Hmm.
of the military, I guess, or the National Guard, I guess we call it. And I asked him, "Does everybody have a gun?" And Pius said, "Yeah. How do you think they get all those holes in the Swiss cheese?"
I thought that was gas.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think Puce had a little bit too much gas in him. So Swiss Tanuki says, "Nope, not rich." Okay, not rich. We'll
So
take your word for it.
Swiss cheese is not that big of a thing in Japan. However, in recent years, we have been able to get raclette cheese. I don't
Mm.
know if you've had raclette cheese or if you know
I
what it
it
is.
doesn't ring a bell at all.
I can be corrected, but raclette, you grill it and you scrape off the melted cheese and you put it on things like potatoes and pickles, and
Oh, okay,
it's a little
okay.
stinky, but it's pretty awesome from
I
my perspective.
there's a Italian restaurant near my house, and they do something there that's I've seen it done in other places too. If you order a certain dish, they come out with a half a wheel of cheese.
Hmm.
It is huge.
Hmm.
And they, dig into the middle of it and they put
I
rice in there or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
you're talking about risotto.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah,
and that
yeah.
would be a huge Parmesan wheel from, of
Yeah,
course,
yeah.
Parma in
Okay.
Italy. So
Okay. Okay.
Parmigiano Reggiano. And then
Okay.
the other cheese that we sometimes get here from Switzerland is called Mondoro, which
Uh-huh.
is, uh, I guess it's a little bit like a soft brie, and it's probably sacrilege for me to say it that way, but it was expensive before the yen tanked, and now it's just prohibitively expensive. But
Yeah.
it's like its own fondue. It's If you like cheese, which you probably shouldn't have too much cheese, but it's pretty awesome. And
Well,
you can get it at
go ahead.
the snooty places.
Oh, the
So
snooty place where I don't go. And
sure.
old thanks to Puce, I discovered Emmental cheese,
Emmentaler. Uh-huh. Yep.
Emmentaler, and I ate it. I ate it religiously for a long time because you could buy it at Caldi for a
Hmm.
relatively cheap price. But then all of a sudden, the price went, and I gave up on eating it because I felt like I was eating money or something like that. Right?
So for anybody who's not familiar with cheese and cheese prices in Japan, I believe that basically all dairy is heavily protected. So, you can buy butter from New Zealand and stuff like that, but because there's, I believe, so many or such high import taxes, then butter. So butter in Japan is probably significantly more expensive than the United States or Europe. Same with cheese, cream, uh, everything. So
Mm.
if if cheese is your life, Japan is, and you don't have a large budget, Japan is not the place for you.
Yeah, there's this place in Ogikubo on the first floor
Hmm.
in
Hmm.
the Luminous Station building,
Hmm.
and they have a cheese specialty shop.
Hmm.
And I feel sorry for the people who are working behind it because they have all this really nice looking cheese
Yep.
laid out. And people come out and say, "Oh yeah, look at this cheese," and then they check the sticker price and turn around and walk away. And I wonder if they ever sell anything there, because it's just so
May,
expensive.
I don't know that specific location, but there is a cheese specialty shop called Cheese Okoku. It's like Kingdom of Cheese, and they
Yeah,
have a couple of locations in department stores. And
yeah,
yeah, I
it could
mean,
be.
if you have a big budget, then you can get whatever you want, sort of thing. So.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, you stick to Kraft's American.
Well, well, of course, in Japan, the main thing is mixed cheese,
Yeah, there
which
you
is
go.
literally means mixed cheese, which is kind of generic, but
Yeah,
it's cheese, but it's not the same
not
as
yet.
like the States or Europe. So.
Yeah, yeah. I saw a YouTube video recently about individually wrapped
Hmm.
so-called American cheese slices and things like
Uh-huh.
that. And it was really interesting. Yeah, and they actually the government told them quit calling your stuff cheese because it ain't. So it was
Plastic on
pretty
the
funny.
outside, plastic on the inside.
There you go.
Or is that?
Sistan, mhm.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I was just gonna say, Sistanuki says he doesn't even own a gun. All right.
Oh,
Okay.
heaven forbid.
Wow. Yeah.
So we got Tokyo
Hello.
Dano.
How's it going, Dano? Hey, Dano. Yeah. Tokyo Dano.
Saturday
I
night. It's good.
I wonder if his sidekick's gonna come. Old Ednoy, right? So Swiss Tanuki says, what? Yen is amazingly low, good for visiting. 1 Swiss franc is now 201 yen. First time it was 80 yen. Wow, oh, sorry, I'm clicking like a dope here. That's a big change, right?
Yep.
Almost three times.
Although in '97 it tanked because there was
Uh,
a economic crisis and it went up to like 140 yen to the dollar, like in a very short period of time. So it's a real roller coaster.
well, you know that the Ministry of Finance has announced that they're going to take stern measures to get the yen back under control, and they're going to do everything within their power. And they did. They took a real stern measure. They raised the prime rate 0.25, 0.25% to 1%.
Oh, that so 3/4%.
No, it was a 3/4%,
Oh,
and
okay, got
they
it.
raised it 1/4%, making
Hmm.
it a whopping 1%. That was their big move.
So I guess that means that people. So thinking of macroeconomics, that means that people will get more money if they put their money in the bank in Japan now. So they're more inclined to save in yen than they were when it was only 0.75%. But I'm afraid that
Yeah,
in other countries you're going to get like 3 or 4%.
yeah, that's
So
the problem. Well, that
yeah.
I was watching it. I think was it the same video or no, that was a news story about the interest rate rise. But I was watching some internet video that was this Japanese finance guy was talking about it, and he said that this I don't even know the name because I've got nothing nothing to do with it. That retirement fund, private retirement fund that Japan started, neat or something.
There's something called NISA. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, NISA. So they started this NISA because the Japanese government wants its citizens to quit leaving their money like in the bank and under the mattress and put
Hmm.
it out somewhere where it'll work harder and that will take some of the pressure off the government for the, old folks support programs. So
Hmm.
that's why they started that. But because they did that, people are investing their money, but a vast amount of that money is going into overseas funds and equities.
Sure, sure.
And that's one of he said that's one of the reasons that the yen is getting weak, because in order to buy this kind of stuff, they have to sell the yen to get dollars to buy the equities and stuff like that. I don't know if any of it is true, but this guy was babbling about it.
There's something called the carry trade, which I'm not qualified to talk about, but basically, I mean, in Japan, people can, so like if, this is exactly what we were talking about. Like if you put your money in yen denominating, like CDs, you're going to get, well, now you're going to get a whopping 1%, but that's pretty pathetic compared with getting, a larger percent. And on the flip side, if you buy a house in Japan, you might end up paying like 1% on your mortgage or something, which for anybody around the world, it's like, well, that's crazy. It's really cheap to borrow money. So
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah.
Japan is kind of unique in both having low interest for borrowing and for lending. So
Yeah, this thing about borrowing money, you would think, okay, the interest rates are really low. It's easy to borrow money. But then I heard that it's hard to borrow money because of the requirements that you have to, the
mm.
hoops, the hoops through which you have to jump in
You
order
mean
to
like
get it.
for a mortgage for a house or something like that?
I think that's what they were talking about. This is just something that I kind of remember. Yeah,
Yeah.
a
I,
conversation that.
I know for foreigners, then like they want you to be a permanent resident and
Yeah, yeah,
stuff like that. So
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Well, that makes sense, doesn't it?
they
And
they want you around when they come to collect. Yeah.
Tokyo Dano says, but people know by now.
If you know, you know.
You know, and you don't know, you don't know. Okay. Damn, I missed that because of a CM.
Do
Oh,
you have a I
oh,
have
yeah.
premium, so I don't see commercials.
Yeah, I and when I was setting this stream up, it said, what was it? I had this choice about the ads, and I chose the lowest setting,
Okay.
and it said fewer ads. So I don't know. Maybe Tokyo Dan's rich and they have that figured out. So they keep showing him ads. What was the ad for, Dan? I hope it wasn't for something, something improper. So I wish we could do something more real time in these live streams.
You mean that there's a little bit of a lag between, well, we're the two of us are pretty live, but
Yeah.
the messages are often a little bit behind.
Mm. I wish we could, okay, let's talk about that a little bit, everybody. Yeah, I've been thinking about, and there are only 6 people, so I don't know. Oh, Tanuki says, Swiss Tanuki, when I retire in about 10 years, the yen stays the same to the Swiss francs. We will be very fine. Yeah, if it does. But you never know, as the song says. But anyway, this platform, we've talked about it. We talked about it before when John was around, and I said, "Well, this platform is StreamYard," and he said, "Oh, StreamYard's a crap platform." But anyway, there are two main platforms for creating videos: StreamYard and Riverside. I think you've heard this before too.
I think,
Now,
yeah, you mentioned it. Hmm.
I like StreamYard because StreamYard lets me do things like this. Okay, it lets me show a news story and talk about it, and I can immediately jump back to the jump back to our regular thing here and continue talking. So I like that click of a button switching scenes like that. The other one, though, really can't do that so easily. You can do it, but it's pretty clunky. But the video output is much better, and it's got a lot of
On Riverside.
video output tools that are stellar superior. So what they say is StreamYard is for streaming. Riverside is for video production. For the same price on StreamYard, your maximum resolution is 1080p, which is a stream. Riverside, your maximum resolution for the same price is 4K. And also they have things that'll clean up your audio and stuff like that. What I would like to know is, does this kind of capability, oh, and there it is. It's not going add to stage and add you to stage. Is this kind of capability, do you guys like it? Do you stream watchers like looking at the stories as I talk about them, or does it not matter? I'd like to know your opinion as we go along. You can answer it. Maybe I'll do a survey one of these days and ask everybody. But I really wonder about that. If it doesn't make any difference, I'll just go back to Riverside because I really like it, and just talk about news stories without displaying them. All right, and we got Axeman talking about carry trade. Carry trade was like an
Was that Infinity?
I don't know.
That's where people borrow in yen and then Infinity Money glitch, making profit on interest in high interest rate countries. Yeah. So you borrow at low interest in Japan and then you invest it at a better rate overseas.
Yeah, actually, we do carry trade at my house. You know, I carry my wife's stuff and trade it for a dinner, you know, things like that.
Yeah, different carry trade.
Yeah. I've heard the term too, but you know, it's one of those, you hear it, you know it, but you know, but yeah.
Probably bankers and hardcore investors are the most, like consumers of financial news are the most familiar with it.
Since we're talking about financial news, did you hear about Elon Musk's SpaceX going public?
I did.
Did you hear about the,
Did I watch the cold fusion video? Is that what you're asking?
Yes, sir. Yeah, go. Yeah.
Yes, I did.
That's pretty disturbing, actually. That if it's true,
Okay, so what everybody's missing if they didn't see the cold fusion video is, so SpaceX is Elon Musk's other company, or one of his other companies in addition to Tesla and X, although I guess X is part of SpaceX now. Then it just went public Friday, so like within the last 12 hours. They raised $75 billion, which is like something like only 5% of the company. And the total valuation of the company was something like $2 billion. And they went public based on a prospectus that said that their total addressable market was 28 trillion or something. It was like, I don't know, the numbers are too big for me. I don't know exactly what the numbers are. But the thing that this cold fusion, which is a fairly popular sort of tech-centric news, long-form video, and he said that because SpaceX, the rocket company that launches rockets into space, and then those rockets come back down and they can be reused, which is their SpaceX's major innovation. Because they've merged with the data center company XAI, it turns out that the majority of the company on which its market valuation is based is 85% of it is AI and doesn't really have that much to do with the space business. But everybody hears the name SpaceX and they think rocket company. But according to Mr. Degogo on Cold Fusion video, it's only accounts for 15% according to the documents that they filed. Is that what you're talking about?
Yep. And even the category that they filed under, they filed as a AI company or an AI, I don't know, what do you call that? The data center provider, service provider company. So instead of being a rocket company, they've become more or less an AI company that also does rockets.
Yeah. So did you have a question for everybody here?
Just
So
I'm revealing my
okay.
vast knowledge of the genre.
I think so. Whether I agree or not is a separate issue. I think what the guy who made the Cold Fusion videos said is like, is it possible that somebody's pulling a fast one? Like the image is rocket company, but the documents say AI company with a topping of rockets. I want to get my dings going away here.
Your thing?
Stop dinging.
Your thing? Okay.
Yeah.
Your ding. You twang your magic twanger, right? You don't know that one. Old folks on the stream will understand. Twang your magic twanger. You don't understand.
So, twang your magic twang. I know my ding-a-ling, but that's something else.
Oh, that's close. There used to be a show on TV when I was a kid, and there was this this character called Froggy the Gremlin. And
is he a frog or a gremlin? Which one?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, both. And the host, the human host, would always say to and he had, I think it was a guitar or a banjo or something. And for some reason, I can't remember exactly why, the host would say to him, "Twang your magic twanger, Froggy." And that was the big, and all the kids would go, "Yeah, me too." I loved it. Anyway.
Okay.
Okay. We talk about everything here, right?
So Dano's asking. Oh, go ahead.
Kelvin says, "It's always my luck. A company goes public when I start the interview process with them. Oh, you should have acted more quickly. You might have gotten some of that hot stock, So right. Dano says, has anyone invested in a SpaceX IPO?
So on the first day, I think 135 was the original starting price, and it went up something like 20-something%, and then by the end of the day, it came down to a bump of 19% over the initial price. And so that's on a $2 billion company, that's like maybe hundreds of billions of dollars. So the numbers are mind-boggling. So this is like already, like by market cap, it's like the 7th largest company in the world already. It's kind of like if you think of a company like Apple, like everybody has an Apple, but does everybody have a SpaceX?
They will.
Does everybody even?
They will.
Does everybody use SpaceX services? So it's a lot of money. Yeah.
In that same video, I think it was, one guy said, "Yeah, it'll get a lot of initial attention, and then it'll go trail off." And that's what happens to a lot of IPOs, doesn't it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I would say that's like sort of the big news in the financial world, especially in the States. Yeah.
Yeah. So Swiss Tanuki says, "Nope, didn't invest in the." I don't think it's so easy to get into an IPO, is it? You have to be connected, I think.
You have to know a guy who knows a guy.
Yeah. And Schindler, how you doing? Welcome. Hope you enjoyed your lunch the other day. Wasn't that Schindler eating lunch, or joined us during his lunch break? I don't want to give my money to a scam. Oh, Swiss Tanuki is calling it a scam. Wow. Okay. And well, you know, the stock market in general, some people think it's all a bunch of scams. I kind of feel like Elon is just getting started. Okay. All right. So buy that SpaceX there, Dano, and tell us about it. Okay. All right. Things are pretty slow here. Let me introduce okay. What kind of what kind of topic would you like?
That
Feel good or
that one that you just teased with Trump talking about drugs sales being delayed.
okay. Yeah, that is a good one. This is a real interesting one. And it's one that I didn't realize. Oh, wait a minute. In 15 days, you'll invest it via indexes. Yeah, that's true. Doug Ogle mentioned that as well, right? The indexes, especially NASDAQ.
Right.
NASDAQ.
So apparently S&P turned him down, and Nasdaq said sure.
Yeah.
So the Nasdaq passive index funds will have to buy it.
Okay. Here's Trump getting blamed again on something, right? Drug policy, pricing policy in Japan and US delays sales of new drugs. Now, I found this story pretty fascinating. I hope you do too.
Mm.
So, it starts out with a sob story, and it
Mm-hmm.
says a Japanese women, not all, but not one, but all. Japanese women with advanced breast cancer have been denied access to a promising new drug due to pricing issues on both sides of the Pacific created under a Trump administration executive order. The
Mm-hmm.
drug is imlunestrant. And
Mm-hmm.
okay. Now, sales have not begun in Japan because there has been no price set for the pharmaceutical. At issue is the order signed by U.S. President Donald Trump in May 2025 that called for lowering the price of a drug sold in the United States to those covered by Medicaid and Medicare to the lowest found in other nations, including Japan. On the Japanese side, the National Health Insurance Program that covers all of the residents has led to the government to seek to keep pharmaceutical prices as low as possible. Japanese pharmaceutical companies have also long been criticized of being free riders for relying on drugs developed elsewhere without paying the often high development costs. That has led some U.S. companies to hesitate selling new pharmaceuticals in Japan because they might have to lower the price in the United States to match the Japanese price. According to Pharmaceutical Research and Manufacturers of America, over the past decade, prices of new drugs were lower in Japan compared to other advanced nations. In 2023, such prices came to only about 40% of the price of new pharmaceuticals in the United States. What do you think, everybody? Since you're paying in Japan, you might say, oh, the damn Americans, I want my cheap pharmaceuticals. But
Well, personally, I think drug prices in the United States are being used to drug prices in Japan, even the full amount, so not the 30% that we end up paying. I think American drug prices are kind of insane. It's about 10x. So the same drug in Japan, same drug in the States. In the States, it's I think a typical like some generic ones. Actually, some might be cheaper, but a lot of drugs are 10 times the price in the States for ones that haven't gone generic yet. To ask the Japanese people to start paying 10 times the price that they're already paying seems impossible. I don't think the Japanese, like, no matter what anybody says, I don't think the Japanese government's going to go for that. And the Japanese people would not be able to swallow that. I'm curious to know what other people think.
it would be a bitter pill to swallow.
Like I take a variety of drugs, a lot of them not generic, and I took the same drug, like 10 years ago, and the Japanese pricing policy, generics aside, is that the same drug generally gets a little bit cheaper in yen every year. So let's say 10 years ago it was uh, before insurance it was $500 a month, and then a year after the Japanese government says, make it a bit cheaper, $450 a month, $420 a month. And so after 10 years, it's like half the price it used to be 10 years ago, even if it's not generic. Um, I think in the United States, it's like 10% more every year is like, they charge whatever they can get. Um, so in a way, the Japanese system has a one payer system, and the Japanese government can negotiate lower prices even before the insurance kicks in.
Well, I mean, that's basically what Trump is saying that they should be doing in the United States. He's talking about Medicare and Medicaid, and
Hmm.
that's the government is paying for that. And so he's trying to get them to lower drugs going through those programs, lower drug prices.
Hmm.
Um, I don't think his objective is to make Japanese people pay 10 times more. It's to make American payers pay less, I think is his objective, right?
So I think given what the rule was, um, if so, I think the idea is that if was it Lilly in this particular case, if Eli Lilly sells it at the price that the Japanese market can absorb, then according to this law from Trump, then they would have to lower the price in the States. And I guess Eli Lilly says, okay, if we just say to the Japanese people, well, I'm sorry, we can't sell it to you because then we'd lose too much money in the States, then Japanese people don't get the drug because of the executive order from Trump.
Uh-huh.
In a way, it makes business sense in Japan. Sorry, business sense to Eli Lilly. I guess it sucks for the people who can't get the drug that they want, that
Mm.
might save their lives or make their lives better.
Well, Eli Lilly does have the option of lowering the price too, right?
Well,
Um,
okay, but so let's just make up numbers. Let's say the price in the States is 10 and the price in Japan is 1. So if this executive order is obviously you have to follow it, then that means that they have to sell in the States for the price of 1. So that means they're losing 90% of their sales in the
or
States.
they could raise the price in Japan, but not 10 times. They could raise it like to
They
five.
could Okay, so then they would sell in the States for 5 and in Japan for 5. But
Yeah.
the Japanese government might say, well, that's too expensive. We can't accept that.
Then that's on the Japanese government from that point forward.
And it seems so. I don't know what because I just saw this article for the first time just now. I guess the current situation is it's being sold for a high price in the States, and the people
I
in
have no
Japan
idea.
just can't get it. Yeah.
It doesn't say that. It doesn't say that. It
Okay.
it doesn't say what the price was. A pharma study has found that between 2014 and 2023, of 460 new pharmaceuticals sold in the West, 245 had not been released in the Japanese market. There's that complaint against Japan by some Americans. They'll say, "I can't get the same American stuff." But I wonder, is that a pricing thing, or is that because of this new? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Okay. So somebody adds the price in the U.S. is, well, it's at 1.8 million yen per month. That sounds about right. So that's like about 12,000 bucks a month.
For this particular
Yeah,
pharmaceutical. Okay.
yeah, which is high. But there are a lot of drugs that are priced like that. So there's one particular drug that I'm familiar with. In the States, the price is It's an immunosuppressant drug. In the States, the list price is $7,000 a month. In Japan, the price before insurance is around 900. So again, it's close to 10 times. So my guess is that the Japanese government would be okay if the price was 1/10 of this, which is still an expensive drug. It's just, you know, obviously a lot less. So
Well, I don't, the drug companies are always saying we have to recoup
yeah,
the
and
research
research,
costs, research
yeah.
and development costs. So I don't know what the numbers are behind all that either. So
But sometimes, like with COVID vaccines, it's like, oh, government, you need to fund our research. Oh, and we'll keep the profits.
yeah,
So
yeah.
they might say that they need to recoup their research costs, but if they already got funded, why not provide it for free? Like, wasn't the what's that? The polio vaccine, wasn't that just, oh, everybody can have it for free?
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah,
that's not modern business. So
yeah.
we should go back to the comments here because there's some interesting ones.
All right, you want to go back to the space or
No, well,
Tonko
SpaceX wildly
Tsurano?
overvalued. Lots of people think that.
All right, let's go here.
Um,
Prices are lower in Japan because we pay for everything in JPY. Duh.
no. It's not just an exchange rate. There's a one payer system, and the government, so the Kousei Dosho, so the Ministry of Health, Labor, and Welfare negotiates the price, whereas in the States, they give drug companies much more leeway,
Yeah.
and they charge as much as they can.
Free market. Yeah.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Drug prices here. I just played stupid. Kelvin says here for him
Yeah,
is
is the
U.S. Right?
States. Yeah, absolutely.
Mm.
So like there were lots of people who, like, for example, couldn't afford their insulin, and it's like pay the rent or buy insulin, and then
Yeah.
they didn't get their insulin and then they died. So okay, well, thank you, free market.
I may sound childish, but you'd think somebody would be able to do something by now. Those stories are all over the place about people having a hard time because of
Like when I tell Japanese people about, like people can't afford their insulin and they die, and they're like, what does insulin cost? And you look it up, it's like, oh, it's like, $50 a month in Japan. Okay, why should people die over that? So, but
What
that's
is it?
just
What is it in the U.S.? Do you know? Insulin.
I don't know, and I feel that somebody can find it out real quick while we're on the
All
live
right.
stream. But I have
All
a
right.
feeling that sometimes it's like thousands of bucks a month or $1,000 a month or something like that for, some
Okay.
people just don't have that.
Tokyo Dano says, I thought Trump RX is supposed to be cheaper than everything else. Okay. Yeah, that's that. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think Trump's statement was something along the lines of, we want Americans to get the best prices. And so I think that's exactly what this article is about. So if the company wants to sell it cheaper in Japan, then they have to lower the price in the States, and they don't want to give up the profits in the States. So then they just say, well, we're sorry, because of this rule, we can't sell it in Japan because it'll hurt our profits too much.
Okay. Well, you know more about this than I do, my friend. So I don't know. Every time I hear about the healthcare system in the United States, basically I'm a free market capitalist, but
Well, I think, okay, so I think this is a perfect example of the scenario where if you have money, it's better. It's potentially better in the States. So if you have money and you can afford to pay, what did we say, $11,000 a month for this drug, and that's no big deal to you, then you can get this drug in the States. But in Japan, you can't get the drug because it's going to bankrupt the Japanese system. So the government is not agreeing to sell it at that high price. So
Okay, let's go back to a little bit of SpaceX here. SpaceX can do in 3 years what NASA. Yeah, I think that's the video that Carl and I saw, they said too that SpaceX cut launch costs by 80% or something like that.
Well, if you have to build a new rocket every time you want to launch something, it's kind of expensive, right? If like an airplane, if you had to build a new airplane every time you wanted to fly across the Pacific, tickets wouldn't be $2,500. They would be, $250,000. So
Yeah. Yeah. And Axman says, I think SpaceX is wildly overvalued. It has real operations, but the valuation appears to depend on very optimistic assumptions about future growth, while XAI and X continue to burn cash. Yeah, that was one of the points in the video, wasn't it?
yeah, well, but now they
Yeah.
have an extra 75 billion of cash to give them a longer runway. But
Yeah.
um, but so I would say, remember when those astronauts got stuck on the International Space Station?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
that was Boeing that was supposed to get them back, and they did a face plant on that.
Yeah.
And then SpaceX got them back. I
Yeah.
don't know how much that impacts their bottom line, but they were
Yeah.
able to do something that a prestigious company like Boeing totally failed at.
Yeah.
And then Blue Origin, Jeff Bezos's competition for SpaceX, they just had their whole launch pad blow up, and
Yeah.
that's going to set them back a long time. So, as I think Kelvin said, who he's applying, or it seems like he applied for a job at the company. Yeah, I think SpaceX is a lot more successful, but to somebody else's point here, that still doesn't mean it's worth $2 trillion.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess we'll see. So one of Elon Musk's inspirational stories from earlier in his life is the Foundation series by Isaac Asimov. So if he makes Foundation a reality, we're populating all these planets, then but that's fantasy at this point. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, anyway. Sorry, must go to lunch. See you next time. Okay, Swiss Tanuki, see you. Enjoy your lunch. Tonkotsu ramen I had on the other day was great as always. Speaking of, for lunch, Schindler says tonkotsu, remember? Yeah. Speaking of SpaceX IPO, we'll see where this hype train goes. As of today, it looks like another high risk investment. Well, you never know with an IPO, right?
One of the things is, like, there are people who already have their opinion about Elon. Like, almost everybody already has made their mind up on Elon Musk. So it's kind of hard to get like an objective opinion. It's either like, okay, if his name's on it, it's definitely bad, or if his name's on it, it's definitely good. It's like, well, yeah, but I don't care about those opinions. People who already made their opinion, made up their minds. Tell me the facts, and I'll make up my own mind.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Okay, Axman, for people on Medicare, out-of-the-pocket insulin costs are capped at $35 per month per prescription under the current federal law, according to ChatGPT. Okay.
But not everybody's on Medicare. So just because you have $1,000 doesn't mean you want to use it all for insulin.
Yeah. Okay, and insulin has actually dropped a lot. I think it's about $40 a month for a box of pens, maybe. I can call my brother and ask what he pays. So and that's in line with what Axman Japan said.
It's possible that insulin was like the poster child of like lowering drug prices, but not so many years ago. You could watch 60 Minutes shows on people dying because they couldn't pay.
No. Better cheap in the USA than Americans subsidizing the rest of the world, says Tokyo Dano. Yeah, that's the argument, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kelvin says one of the big differences between SpaceX and NASA is the levels of red tape. Government is never good at running everything. Yeah, and they've got DEI to worry about, and they, get the right balance of this kind of people and that kind of people. And
actually, I heard about SpaceX. I think I don't remember which administration this was, but NASA massively cut their budget, and they laid off a lot of, lifelong literal rocket scientists. And SpaceX just gobbled them all up. It's like, okay, we got a job for you. We got a job for you. And they hired sort of like the best people. I don't know if they're still there or not, but I think that's one of SpaceX's advantages.
Okay, yeah. With government manufacturers have to be in all 50 states, the incremental improvement takes a tremendous amount of time versus all of the manufacturing within a 300-mile radius. Dennis Class says, is this for drugs? They have to be in all 50 states? Government?
It feels like a super insightful comment, but I'm not sure what it's about.
Yeah.
Please give us an extra hint, Dennis.
Yeah. Okay. Please, Dennis. All right. Boeing is actually just a commercial branch of the government. Okay.
We know which side of the debate you're on, Kelvin.
Yeah.
Let's go. That's okay.
All of these AI companies are in trouble when they go IPO and need to show positive money. They'll likely act like going public is zero instead of acknowledging they are deep in the negative. Yeah, we talked to. Go ahead, Carl.
I was going to say, so SpaceX, obviously, Friday the 12th, not the 13th. That was the hot IPO now, but I think ChatGPT and what's the other AI company? The one that makes Claude, Anthropic. Those two are, I think, those are expected to IPO within the year. And X-Man Japan's comments are very appropriate for those two. What were you going to say, Ed?
ChatGPT's going public?
Well, OpenAI, but yeah, that's the story. I mean, Mr. Altman wants his money too.
ChatGPT, don't get me started, but you already have.
I think we already did.
That it's getting worse. It's getting worse by the day. Don't get me started. Don't get you just ruined my mood for the rest of the live stream.
Look. So I don't talk to ChatGPT that much these days. I talk to Gemini, but Gemini is like, that's the smoking gun, that's the silver bullet, that changes things completely. It's you could tell a mile away that you're talking to a chatbot, because of its behavior.
ChatGPT, for some reason, over the past couple of weeks, has started to refuse to do things that I ask it to do. And I can't figure out why. And I say, I asked you to do, I'll ask it to do something, and then it'll give me this big, long explanation about what I am asking is such a good idea. And then I'll say, okay, so tell me the answer. And it'll say, oh, yeah, sorry about that. Instead of giving you the answer, I was getting philosophical about why the answer is this way. And then that's all it says. And I said, yeah, but what's the answer? And he'll, oh, yeah. And I asked it about 10 times and it never gave me an answer. Such annoying behavior. Yeah.
Smart Alec.
Smart Alec. And Lord knows I've got enough of those there.
Dumb looks are still free. Yeah, anyway.
Yeah. Kelvin says, I can attest that SpaceX interview process is grueling looking into my skill set, whereas the NASA interview process were just levels of confirmation and approvals.
Interesting.
Yeah. Government versus private sector, huh? Kelvin says, well, I worked this stuff daily. Yeah. Okay. X-Man, I've heard a great deal of it. Is put into retirement portfolios and I heard a great deal of retirement portfolios are being divested in AI stock. These portfolios will absorb the loss if they go under. Well, I don't know how much is just bad mouthing or what, but there is a lot of bad mouthing of AI these days, isn't there?
Well, you
People
just
are,
did it just now.
yeah, like I just did now, take it from me. But yeah. Axeman Japan says, sorry, I always have typos. Welcome to the club. Yeah. Maybe we could get AI to write our comments for us. When the U.S. government approves the budget for NASA, some congresspeople hold out for some of the budget being earmarked for their area companies before they will vote for the budget. Yeah, that's true, isn't it?
So, like, I don't know if that's the same as pork barreling or,
kind of like, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that's par for the course in Washington, right?
Yeah.
Fighting for your constituents.
Yeah. This yeah, if you pay attention to what's going on in the US, you find all of these Congress critters making $100,000 a year, stay in Congress for 5 years, and come out the other end a multi-millionaire. Makes you wonder,
I was going to say 100 something thousand. That doesn't sound like much, but that was your point. Is that how did they get all the money?
Yeah.
Consulting jobs.
Yeah, consulting. Sassy Algorithm says, tell us a joke then. Tell us a joke then. A joke? Do you want to hear a joke? Really?
Okay. You want a very, very non-PC joke?
Okay.
Oh, what do Japanese men do when they have an erection?
What do they do?
They vote. They vote. Yes.
Okay.
Right. You don't have to follow up like a more racy one. That's the one that came to mind.
What's orange and sounds like a parrot?
What?
A carrot.
Yes, that was much less racy.
Much less racy. If you want a racy one, okay.
Are we talking about Japan in this live stream?
Yeah. Axeman Japan. I got ChatGPT open in another window, and with voice recognition, it's excellent. I'm talking to that and then copy and paste that into the chat. It works 100% better than my typing. I know the feeling. Currently, for SpaceX, most of the product is made on site, says Dennis, and not spread around to 50 states. Incremental improvement is much faster. Okay, that's what he was saying before about having things spread out. All right. Kelvin liked the joke, liked the humor. Sassy Algorithm says, not bad. Okay. All right. So we got best past the dry. So I've got stuff that's, light, some stuff that's really serious and really touchy subject. What do you want there? And we talk about the post office, about the guy who was found dead in a container. But I don't know why I put that in there. I was just going to say, well, Japan has crime too. But we won't do that one.
Was it on this live stream where it's like the Japanese crime is about 5% per capita of the US crime?
No, I didn't see that. I don't know.
Okay. It was shockingly low.
Yeah. And Mie Prefecture is taking action to make customer harassment a criminal offense.
I think I've heard something along these lines, but lay it on us.
All right. Whip it on you. Okay. Customer harassment is a really big issue here. Evidently, you hear a lot about it. And when I say customer harassment, I don't mean people harassing customers. We mean customers harassing store people and service providers. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Mie Prefecture plans to adopt an ordinance to impose criminal penalties against intolerable customers who make unreasonable demands, verbally abuse, or resort to other obnoxious behavior against workers. Ordinances aimed at curbing customer harassment are spreading nationwide, but Mie's will be the first to make such actions a criminal offense. Specified customer harassment will include such acts as repeatedly making demands over a prolonged period, shouting in a way that instills fear in pursuit of benefits, excessive apologies or meetings, making obscene remarks or acting in obscene ways, and engaging in serious stalking behavior. If a prefectural review panel determines that the conduct constitutes specified customer harassment, the governor will issue a prohibition order to the perpetrator. If the perpetrator does not follow the order, the case will be referred to law enforcement officers as a suspected crime. If a court finds the offender guilty, penalties may include a fine of up to 500,000 yen or imprisonment without labor.
Without labor, yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Businesses and labor unions have called the introduction of penalties to deter customers from abusing employees. They've wanted these. On the other hand, some legal experts have urged caution, saying such penalties could interfere with customers' ability to assert their legitimate rights. Okay, I think people who live in Japan have seen this with their own eyes in the past. What do you think? What do you think? What do you think?
I guess the devil is in the details, right? So
Yeah.
there are obnoxious customers,
Yep.
and somebody should protect the innocent store workers who are what's the word? Kisho kachi ga aru, a very rare commodity these days. There aren't a lot of
Yeah.
people who want to work in the stores. They have no. So if they're like, I'm not going to take this anymore, then they're going to have fewer and fewer people to work in the stores. On the other hand, does it make it so that does it change the balance of power so now stores can be jerks to customers, and with knowing that if they complain about the customers, then the law is going to crack down on them. The other thing I'll
Yeah.
say is it looked like a fairly long process to get from harassment incident to referring to a committee, writing a report, issuing a prohibition, and then finally getting to the police. So it sounded like there were several steps. Sounds very bureaucratic.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought when I saw that process. That's why I highlighted it.
I was going to say, like, there are not going to be any people to work in the stores because they're all going to have to be working on doing the paperwork for processing these complaints.
Yeah, I don't know if it's just Tokyo or what, but I've noticed that the people who work in general stores, like
Mm-hmm.
cashiers and things like that,
Mm-hmm.
have become quite sullen of late.
They're
They
not
look
like
like
irashaimase or anything like that.
no. There's none of this okyakusama ga kami-sama kind of thing. They look at the customers as being a pain in the ass or something like that. And that's in like in general.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to a high end place, of course, it's much different.
Mm-hmm.
But this thing about customers harassing staff, that seems to be a real problem here. There was something here some time ago where some guy was demanding that somebody at a hotel or something get down and bow
Mm-hmm.
and touch his forehead to the floor and all this kind of stuff. That's a little bit crazy, but
I feel like
yeah.
that kind of stereotype it's not new. I think that there were customers like that, in Showa. I wasn't here then, so I wouldn't know. But so the Japanese phrase "okyakusama wa kami-sama," like sometimes customers take it a little too much to heart, and it's like, well, I'm your god, therefore you must do everything I say. And a lot of sort of customer service oriented businesses will be apologetic and so forth and so on, but sometimes the customers take it too far. So
No. Yeah. Well, they certainly talk about it more than they have in the past. I'll say that. There are a lot of these kind of stories coming out about customers abusing staff. But let's see what we got. All right.
yeah.
Back to the joke. Joke reminded me of this one. My family laughed at me when I was going to be a comic. Nobody's laughing now. Ha 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 ha.
I just got that. I didn't get it when I read it the first time. Now I got it.
Okay. Dennis says touchy subjects, touchy yomiya. Okay. Do you understand? Am I missing something,
I
Carl?
think touchy and touchy are somehow related, but I'm not sure.
Okay. Yeah. That's a
Dennis is
joke.
very, very cryptic, right?
Yeah. Yeah. There's a joke I made about Viagra.
What's that?
You know,
Touchy no me?
we have the Japanese expression yaku yaku ni tatsu means
Hmm.
being usable or being useful or something like that.
Uh-huh.
And for Viagra, I changed it to yaku de tatsu.
Got it. Changing the particle changes the story.
Yeah,
I think
and the meaning of yaku is a play on
it,
words,
if
right?
somebody knows advanced Japanese, please remind me. I think when a woman is dissatisfied with her man's performance, she says something like "yaku ni tatazu" or something like that. If anybody
Mm.
knows the exact expression, please remind me.
Mm, mm,
But
mm.
anyway,
But yaku de
uh,
tatsu, right?
yaku.
Yaku de
So drugs.
tatsu nara. Yeah. Anyway, my
Yeah.
friend American friend used to like to make corny Japanese jokes. What do you call it if a dog is walking in the street and suddenly falls over?
I don't know.
Wang patang.
Ah, but I've heard
Uh,
that one. Yes. So like,
okay, all right. Maybe he
yeah.
stole it then. He told me he
Yeah.
made it up. But anyway, I feel like I feel like outraged customers are scapegoating for larger social issues. Could be. It might also get worse if there are countries to be need for a foreign staff who can't cut the Japanese expectations.
Actually,
Okay.
I was thinking of that. Like if you think convenience store, lots of times they're staffed by foreigners, and so if this dynamic has the same outcome as regardless of the nationality of the person working in the store, it may ironically help the foreign employees against the customers who are, dare we say, being racist against them or just being intolerant of them.
There you
So
go. All right. Okay. If it passes the committee.
yes.
I just cross Mie Prefecture off the list of places I will visit, His Majesty says. Okay. Oh, because you want to be an intolerable customer. Way to go. Way to go. The king of Saitama has spoken. Good. All right. Axeman says, going to California Monday. Any price shocks I should be aware of? Carl, do you know
A
anything about California?
couple years ago when I got stuck in LA, I had to stay in a hotel, and fortunately the airline paid, but they told me it was going to be like $700 a night if I was going to pay on my own. So uh, I think everything in California is insanely expensive. So, uh,
Mm.
but my guess is somebody, so you don't have to stay in one of those hotels.
Oh, I heard a joke about California.
What's that?
They're gonna. I guess the
They're having an
U.S. is
election?
the U.S. is the U.S. is hosting the World Cup, right?
Right.
And some of the games, I guess, according
Hmm.
to this joke anyway, that some of the games will be played in California,
Okay.
and maybe some of them will be played in Los Angeles.
Hmm.
And Carol Bass has announced that for the games played in Los Angeles, that the final score will probably not be available until 3 days after the match has ended.
Oh, is this like the election results are super late or something?
Yeah, yeah. You're supposed to laugh at people's jokes. I mean, that's common
Rather than
courtesy there.
analyzing.
Okay.
But
Uh,
actually, speaking of the World Cup, um, I got my hair cut. You didn't compliment me on my haircut.
oh, that looking good.
Um, but the barber asked me, so, they're hosting the World Cup in the States this year. Apparently, it's includes Mexico. There's games in
Oh,
Canada
yeah.
as well. But it's like, oh, is everybody, because I told him I just came back from the States. It's just like, was there like World Cup buzz in the States? And I'm like, actually, I just found out about it just now. Um, so, I mean, people play soccer, like young people play soccer, maybe slightly less than baseball and football, but there's just no professional league and no interest in professional soccer.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
um, I didn't know. Does anybody else? I'm not sure what I'm asking. It's it's not surprising to me that I didn't know anything about the World Cup. It was surprising to me that the World Cup was being held in the States this year. And I had
Uh,
just been there and I had never heard of it. So
hmm, hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, I like watching really high level soccer, like Premier
Hmm.
League. That's
Hmm.
that's I mean, that's some stuff that'll really go. Hey, oh, California price news. I spoke with a Californian last week, $14 for a head of cauliflower. Woo. All right. Manga University points out US has a pro soccer league. So
But how many teams can you name? Well, maybe not you, but like I can name. I could give me a list of 100 names. I could pick out all of the basketball teams and all the baseball teams. But if you had a list of 100 names of soccer, that included real and fictitious soccer teams in the States, I couldn't tell you which were the real ones or which were the
mm,
fake ones.
mm. And then, and it is popular, says Manga University. So take that.
It's just, yeah.
And now we have a real debate going on. Schindler says it's not soccer, it's football, gentlemen. And the king retorts, in the US, it's soccer. Uh oh. Saying things like soccer may get you in trouble in English pubs. Uh oh. I've been given someone's class to teach tonight, right when the live stream is on, 6 to 8 p.m. in China. Hi, Lisa. How you doing? How you doing? Always nice to see you. But are
Oh,
you,
she's out now, so
oh, you're
she's
out
joined the
now?
party.
Okay, thank you. Looks like I will be doing my week fast. First week fast or first week fast. First week
No,
fast.
no, no, no. First 1 week fast. So he's going to
First,
fast for 1 week, and it is his first
really?
time.
Really? Why would you want to do something like that?
So I've heard of fasting, but people do it for different reasons. Are you going to
Yeah.
become an aesthetic monk, or is this
Yeah.
for health reasons or something else?
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty in vogue these days, I guess, right?
No, I don't know if there's a lot of people doing 1 week fast. I mean, yeah, it's probably more in vogue than it was in the 50s, but uh, I'm still guessing it's like 0.01% of the people or something.
Yeah. Well, in the US, I mean, take a look, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. Ozempic. Ozempic.
The natural Ozempic, yes.
I wonder about that stuff, just quit eating so many hamburgers,
Oh,
right?
one of your future ones, I think I saw in maybe it was Japan Times. Apparently, So Monjaro is another one of the GLP drugs. And apparently Japan, there's issues with people getting it and then like reselling it. There was an article in, I want to say, the Japan Times about that recently. So
Oh,
that's a
well,
Japan related drug one.
there was another one, another drug one. I forgot what it was for, but they had people. Was it for some liver problem, and it was killing people? That there were a bunch of people who died while they were taking. It was just a couple weeks ago, but it's just one of these things, you know. There were some unexplained deaths, and they took it off the market, so it wasn't really exciting or anything like that.
Mm.
What do y'all think of the poor guy? Well, okay, wait a minute. Let's go to the fast, right? Oh, Kelvin says it's actually good for you. I did a 21-day water fast. It was tough. 21 days, only water?
My guess is, so I think, so I've looked into it. I think I've done about 3 days or something like that. That was about all I could handle. But I think they say you should have electrolytes and water. Um, and yeah, I think, but anyway, yeah, that takes some konjo, some
Yeah.
stick with itness for that.
And Kelvin says it's always good if you do it correctly. Okay.
Under medical supervision.
And we're back to the football debate. I find it hilarious that a game where big dudes are tackling each other and kick on a ball occasionally somehow is called football in the US.
Australian rules football, that's a wild game. I mean, I don't know that much about it, but apparently it's the most popular game in Australia. It's like
I
18 people on a side.
Yeah, and they like try to kill each other for however
It's
long,
like
right?
it's like American football with more people and less protection.
Wearing shorts, right? Yeah. You know, I like Schindler, and
Hmm.
you know, I like when he's here. He's a good contributor. That's why I'm not going to tell you the meme that I saw about soccer recently. It was very bad, very mean. So I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say what it is. Let's just leave it at that. Carl said, well, shut up already, right? I think he's saying that in terms of the food in California being too expensive. Yeah, the cauliflower, right? The fast is a joke. California is too expensive. Oh, I think he's saying that because the food is so expensive in California that he's going to go into a 1 week fast. See, I figured it out already, but
So this is related. So in so when I left Haneda for the States, you could get pretty decent. Like I had this huge bowl of udon at, it was like one of the best udons I've had in a while for, okay, 2,000 yen is kind of pricey for udon, but it was really good. And it was huge. But when I came back from the States in the airport, uh, it was just insane prices for what looked like pretty lousy food. So I figured out a way not to buy food in the airport in the States.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, so California's expensive, and if you eat in like the airport in California, it's going to be even more expensive, I think. So
Yeah, airport food is NG.
it's a
Okay.
total ripoff.
Yeah. Okay. Again, yeah, got
Yeah,
that. All
yeah.
right. Thank you. Thank you. Sorry for
We took it
being
too
so thick.
seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, we're serious people around here. I pulled a Ted Lasso and coach soccer. What's the Ted Lasso?
Ted Lasso is a really you should see it if you haven't seen it. It's on Apple TV. Really popular show about an American who goes over to England to coach soccer.
Okay. I pulled a Ted Lasso and coached soccer for 6 years and only ever played American football. By the way, UK made up the term soccer. US adopted it and never caught up with the term update football. Okay. Is that true? Okay. And Kelvin Mrs. says, yes, definitely electrolytes. Yeah, that's
Yep,
stuff
does
you
to
got to
my
watch.
comment about
Mm,
in addition to
mm,
the water, but no
yeah.
calories. Yeah.
Schindler says soccer fans in Europe are generally insane, by the way. Yeah, they had a bunch of trouble with that years ago, didn't they?
Hmm.
Australian rules football equal rugby? Not
No,
really.
no, no. I mean, it's kind of it's like a cougar and a lion and a puma. They're all big cats, but they're all different, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You should
More
look it
like
up.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like the Colosseum games in old Rome.
Uh, so I recently had somebody come back from Australia and rave about Australian rules football. Apparently, it's played on a cricket field, so it's like this
I think they
huge
call it
oval
I think they call it
pitch.
a pitch.
Yes, okay. Somebody's plotting to kill me now because I used field instead. But yeah, and so it's the game that the cricket players play in the off season in order to stay in shape, and then I guess it became bigger than cricket or something like that. Whatever. In
Wow.
Australia anyway.
It's wild. It's like watching a bullfight where everybody's a bull. Most of these fans are there just to take part in the mass brawl with the other team's Chung Chung fans. Chung Chung. Yeah. Okay. We actually bring rice and a ton of food to our extended stays in the US. This is just 10 days. Okay. So you bring food from Japan to the US. Wow. Yeah, sometimes I joke with my wife, when she doesn't eat everything, I'll say, there are people in Los Angeles starving. I don't know if you I don't know if you were told this when you were a kid, but when I was a kid, that's the mothers used to say that. There
not
are
not not
kids in
Africa.
yeah, there are kids in Japan starving, they used to say, right?
Uh, I,
Okay.
I mean, I can imagine it, but no, I was only in on the African version.
Ah, okay. Yeah, back when I was a kid, Japan was in bad shape in a lot of
Sure.
ways. Yeah. I still remember my first American football experience, a Tecmo Bowl video game for the 8-bit Nintendo. My wife we used to watch, I used to watch, they used to have occasional games here, and I would watch it on TV. And they used to even have NFL games here on it, like at NHK and stuff. And I would sit there and watch football because I enjoyed it. And my wife would always say, I don't understand what's going on in this game, and I tried to explain and it never worked. And we went to the States and I took her to a live game, the University of Illinois.
Hmm.
And she was there for about 10 minutes and could see the whole field and everything that's going on and how far the ball flies when they kick it and throw it. And she said, oh yeah, okay, I understand everything now. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Yeah.
So
Apropos to nothing at all, but I'm the
it's
host,
okay.
so
It's okay. I was looking up before video games.
uh,
There used to be an American football game that basically it was this metal plate that you push the button and then it vibrated, and it had these players that sort of moved around based on the
oh
vibrations.
yeah, 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 yeah,
I was
yeah.
trying to find an image of that we could. So that's the somebody was talking about their first experience with American football. And it made me think of that game.
Oh, I had one of those when I was a kid too. The
Hmm.
the the players, they were on a base, and the base had
Yep,
two
like
like
wheels or something.
no, they
Uh,
were they were they were
like the bottom of a sled or something.
pieces of plastic. They were just pieces of plastic.
Okay.
Like it was like I'm not. It wasn't very firm, flexible plastic, and the
Hmm.
vibrations made them. And you would set up the plays and then press a button, and they. Yeah, I thought that was such a cool game. Takes me back, especially when it comes to play as a legendary Bo Jackson. Oh, I skipped the newbie. Hi, newbie here, says
Willie,
Willie. All right, Willie and the Poor Boys. Okay, hi,
welcome.
Willie. Welcome. Thank you for coming. And glad to see you. And Schindler says, especially when it comes to play as a legendary Bo Jackson. Yeah.
So you missed the commercials where it was like Bo knows. So Bo
Oh no.
Jackson was famous for playing multiple sports, right? And so Bo knows football, Bo knows weights, Bo knows.
Okay.
So yeah,
Okay. Okay.
as Schindler says, the legendary Bo Jackson. Yep.
Okay. And then Kelvin says, folks, I have to head out. Got to hard to mow before the rain gets here. Hope everyone has a good day, night. Good. Thank you, for coming, Kelvin. Yeah. Okay. I'll talk to you later. Bye. Axeman Japan. This summer, I plan to study Japanese a lot more. Do you recommend memorizing phrases, vocabulary, or just consuming through reading, watching, listening? I'm around N4. Sensei?
Uh, so let's see. Do you recommend memorizing phrases, vocabulary, or just consuming through reading, watching, listening? So N4, I think it's hard to consume authentic materials. Like you can't really just absorb it. I'm sure Axeman Japan lives in Japan. Was Axeman the one going to California? You're not going to study Japanese in California, I hope. Assuming you're doing this in Japan. With last time, so I'm not like what's the word? Sponsored by them or anything, but Japatalk is and there are others, but Japatalk is like insanely it's an insanely good deal for something like 400 yen for 25 minutes. You can have a lesson with a teacher, and having a teacher makes you a little bit more responsible. Even as people say, well, why would you have a teacher? Because you could just get your wife to teach you. But then there's all that baggage that comes with it, and that doesn't make sense to me. But so I guess I'll shut up in just a second. But I think you need to learn something from a book or in an organized way, and then practice it. And it's this synergy between the two that gets you to improve. I think just one without the other, you're not going to improve.
Yeah, by the way, I got an inquiry from a different language
Hmm.
learning app about sponsorship.
Okay.
So you're going to have to quit talking about that Jap. No, I'm just joking. I'm
That
just
racist
joking.
platform, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm just joking. Uh, but I did
Oh,
get an inquiry.
okay. Hey,
Yeah,
that's how you
yeah,
monetize, right?
yeah. But I don't have time to do anything right now because of the damn my teaching work. So I told them wait until the other
Hmm.
side of July. Okay. Thank you, Willie says. Okay, you're
Hey,
very
welcome.
welcome.
Yep.
Yeah. Schindler says, Axel, did you try to take a JLPT yet? And Axel says, 10 days. I still have another month off school. My kids will be in Japanese school and I will be free. Okay. Oh, I guess that's going, how long he's going to go to Japan, is it? 10 days? I don't know. Somebody's
Wait,
talking, do it. Hmm?
is Axeman Japan living in Japan, or is he living in the States and just visiting Japan, or
I
or
can't,
some other country?
I can't remember.
Okay, it's
You'll let
well,
us know.
yeah.
Duolingo. Duolingo katakana lessons. Yeah,
Have you ever
Duolingo
tried?
is
Have you ever tried Duolingo?
me. No, I don't know anything about it. I know the name because a lot of people talk about it. Have you?
I have tried it.
Yeah.
I have tried the free tier, and
Yeah.
the free tier is like basically you make three mistakes and then you're cut off for the rest of the day. And I
Yeah.
found that quite infuriating. So they say it's free, but really, if you don't want to get irritated all the time, you have to pay. So you pay to be not irritated, and I'd rather just pay somebody else.
Sounds like YouTube Premium.
There you go. But I would much rather pay YouTube Premium than pay Duolingo.
Okay. Okay, we got some advice coming in from Schindler. My advice is to start attending private lessons at a Japanese language school and then go for JLPT. Rinse and repeat until you reach N2. Okay. Sounds like a man who's done it, doesn't it? Okay. Have you gone to a Japanese language school, Carl?
Uh, I have. Oh, well, okay. So I I started working as an English teacher when I first arrived. I found free Japanese language classes at an international center, at a community center. I had language exchange, but I wasn't like part of a full-time language program until about 20 years ago. I went to Keio University. They have like a year-long program that you can go to. So it's kind of like a language school, but it just happened to be at Keio University.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, it's like your well, it's probably a little bit different from like your quote unquote regular Japanese language schools. Um, and 20 years ago, apparently the immigration really cracks down. They make sure that you attend class and all that kind of stuff. 20 years ago, I was very intent on learning Japanese and getting the most out of it, but it wasn't as what do you want to say? Like they weren't reporting back to immigration whether I showed up for class or not. So,
Hmm.
um,
Okay.
but my guess is um, this advice. So they really only care if your visa is depending on you going to a Japanese language school. Was it you or was it somebody else? Okay. So now, in order to go to Japanese language school, you have to have passed N5 before you go in the first place. They don't want absolute beginners anymore. Um,
Somebody mentioned
that's
that during
really
the last
interesting.
stream. Yeah.
Okay, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
You have to
Tokyo
learn
Dan
Japanese before you can learn Japanese.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Tokyo Dano said I had that vibrating football game. He and I are about the same age, so it stands to reason that he did. Axman says I've lived in Japan 10 years. I will go to US 10 days and have another month off after that. Might try a lesson. Sadly, all the parents on my son's Japanese baseball team want to practice English. That's always been a thing, right?
Hmm.
I'm sure we all been through it. You know, you want to use Japanese, you want to learn Japanese, but every Japanese person you run into is trying to push you into a English conversation thing,
Hmm.
and which is okay with me. I'll speak English. I saw one guy. I had a friend. He was a little bit he was a little bit intense, shall we say? And he and I and another guy went to eat dinner together, and we just dropped into this little pasta place. And the three gaijins were sitting there. Three obvious gaijins were sitting there. And this young girl came up, and she obviously wanted to practice her English conversation.
Hmm.
So she came up and said, what would you like, or may I help you? Something, some generic term. And the one guy I was with blew up. I mean, almost took the ceiling off the place. Why do you assume that I can't speak Japanese? And got really upset and yelled and screamed. And I was really embarrassed about that. So I'm not
I can
I'm not
imagine.
insistent. Yeah, yeah. I'm not very insistent about that kind of thing, right? How about you?
I have so many opportunities to. Well, it's not practicing Japanese at this point. It's just like my life is, 90% in Japanese. So if somebody wants to speak English, I'm happy to oblige. If they want to
Mm,
pay me for it as well, I'm even more happy
mm,
to oblige.
mm,
But
mm,
yeah, I'm all for maintaining the wa.
mm.
Uh,
Yeah, very important. Very important.
Yeah, that I would tell the guy to take a chill pill.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Dude, chill.
we did, and then we had to sit there and listen to him explaining his position, right? But anyway,
Yes.
there are some language schools that specialize in foreign residents in Japan. You don't need a JLPT N5 to enroll in these. Yeah.
Yeah, reporting back to immigration and the N5 thing is if your visa depends on it. Otherwise, it's a business. They're happy to take your money, I'm
Yeah.
sure. I mean,
Somebody
not in a bad way. Just, like, then everybody's welcome. Sure.
somebody was mentioning that if you wanted to come to Japan on a visa that's
Hmm.
specifically for studying Japanese, you have to have at least uh, JLPT N5.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe I'll create a Japanese AI best friend to learn from. There you go. Look up Claude. Everybody's talking about what you can do with Claude. It's supposed to be pretty amazing stuff. But if you want to enroll in a
Hmm.
Japanese language school on a student visa, then yes, you need proof of JLPT in 50. Okay. Schindler, thanks, X-Man says. And I have PR. Okay, then you don't have to worry about it. You want to talk about the controversial subject, the touchy subject? Anybody? You want to do it? Carl, what do you think?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
You want to put some meat on those bones there?
Too much meat on these bones already.
Yeah. Just a minute. Okay. Sometimes you click on a site and they want you to install something, and I never do, of
Yeah,
course.
me neither.
Okay. Did you hear about this one?
I have
About
seen that picture.
Kawagoe in Saitama Prefecture?
Yep. I think
Th-
this is national news now, right?
yeah, it's big news and it's ongoing news. It's still ongoing.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess they built a mosque
Mm-hmm.
on land that you need a special permit upon which to build, and they had
Mm-hmm.
not gotten the special permit to build.
Mm-hmm.
And what? Okay, they were wrong for doing that. But what I found surprising, disgusting about the whole thing was the city of Kawagoe went out there a number of times to tell them, stop building. And they would say, I don't understand Japanese. But I mean, for like a long time, I mean, from what I was able to gather, a couple years, they kept telling them, stop building, and they ignored them. And the city didn't do anything. And now it's built, and the city said to them, take this thing down. It's illegal. You got to knock it down. And they said, okay, we'll destroy the building by 2030. So they said it'll take them 4 years to destroy the building, which I thought was, why don't they send the evidently there are four buildings involved, not just this one, but four. And why
Mm.
I can't figure out why the city or why the state or why the government is so weak on this. Why don't they just send in the GA tie with a bulldozer and knock it down and be done with it? I know why. You know why. We all know why. But I think this is a
Is this the one
pretty
where I think maybe like the somebody from the embassy of Pakistan was involved?
right here, right. A grand
Okay.
opening ceremony was held on April 13th and was reportedly attended by the ambassador of Pakistan to Japan. Okay. Um, yeah, I thought that was
And so if I'm not mistaken, then the ambassador is kind of backing off and saying, "Well, I assumed that everything was approved, and if it's
yeah,
not approved, then I'm
yeah.
not like I'm not involved. If it's illegal,
Yeah.
then the laws of the country need to be
Yeah.
uh, what's the word upheld."
Yeah. Yeah, he just came out and said, "I don't know, I didn't know,"
Not me.
not me.
And so,
Yeah.
uh, so they didn't get the appropriate approval. Uh, was was there any more detail as why this didn't get the approval? It
Well,
it, it seems like seems really dumb.
well, there is a reason, and it makes you wonder why. What,
Hmm.
Um, so it was privately owned land,
Hmm.
and where was that? According to the city's urban development division, the area is designated as an urbanization control zone where development is strictly restricted and construction requires permission under the City Planning Act.
Hmm.
Okay. Now, as you can see here, it's in the middle of Inaka, right? It's on basically on farmland, it looks like.
Hmm.
So evidently there was no building at all allowed in this area without some special permission. And they just ignored that requirement and built their stuff.
Well, I'm just thinking, it's like, and I am a little bit uneducated in terms of what's the word, the logistics of how prayer and so forth goes on. But one of the things that you imagine when you think of a mosque is like the call to prayer, and then I've read in other articles about people complaining about the noise and the crowds and so forth. And so, if it's in a place where there aren't a lot of people, it would seem like that would disturb a lot fewer people. But I don't know what the logic is behind this. Um,
But the land from before they even thought about building this,
mhm.
the land is in a specially controlled zone that's not you're not allowed to build anything there, not just the mosque, anything.
Hmm. I mean,
It
I guess in this
mm,
in the States and every country they must have zoning laws, so you
yeah.
can't build like a factory in the
Mm,
middle
mm,
of a bunch of houses.
mm, mm,
Hmm.
mm.
Hmm.
But to me, all right, building it, not building it, why they built it, why the government of Kawagoe or Saitama or the country didn't do anything to stop them from building. That's what I can't believe.
Maybe somebody's made like an awesome comment and it explains why. I don't know.
Well, I
What
mean,
is
we
it?
we can we can imagine, right? I mean, can't we? Can't you? Can you?
Well, so if I was building something, I would definitely want to make sure that somebody isn't going to later tell me you have to tear it down because that's waste of a lot of money. Um,
Unless you are a member of a certain group that you can claim discrimination against your group if somebody tells you to take down the building. You know what I mean?
so this was all part of so in theory, so this is just one speculation that this is all part of the plan to create strife between different groups of people or different countries or something.
I wouldn't say strife, but once it's there, just build it. And what are they going to do? Make it tear it down? Kind of way of thinking, right? Hmm.
Well, we were talking about Elon Musk earlier, and that's kind of one of it's like, what are they going to do? Fine us? So you pay
Yeah,
the fine, but
yeah,
then
yeah,
but then you get the building done a lot faster. That's actually one of
yeah,
the his MOs.
yeah,
It,
yeah.
you can look at it as a good thing or a bad thing, but I mean, if the ultimate result is you build it and then it gets torn down, I guess maybe they were gambling that it would stay up.
Yeah,
That's
I
like,
think they
oh,
were
they.
gambling. I think they were gambling that the government wouldn't have the guts to tear it down. And
Well,
they
it
don't.
sounds like it's still going to take 4 years.
They don't. That's what I'm saying. They don't have the guts to just go in and tear it down. They're demanding that the people who put it up tear it down. And the people who put it up said, "Oh, yeah, okay, we'll take 4 years." And I think after 4 years, they might be able to claim, "Oh, it's been there all this time. What do you mean? People are depending on it." I think it's close to being a scammy kind of thing. It's a
But
bad
as somebody
situation.
pointed out, so let's see, Gaijin Guru said that there's a mosque in Edogawa. I want to say near not Harajuku. What's the end of the Chiyoda line? Yoyogi. Yoyogi has a fantastic mosque that I was invited and been to one time. I mean, I guess if there are more Muslims, and they're just like in Christianity, there's many different denominations, then they want to have more mosques. So anyway,
Well,
uh,
I I don't get what you're saying.
I don't get what
Yeah.
it
I mean,
it just
every religion wants to have more of whatever they have, but you don't go out and build it in a place where building is illegal. You have to
yeah
follow the laws. Yeah.
so short answer is I can't understand why the people who planned the project, what were they thinking?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe they thought that the government would cave.
Yeah.
And I guess they caved for many years, and
Maybe
but
they're paying they're playing their gaijin license card. Yeah.
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe. Yeah. I told you it was controversial. Yeah.
Mm.
So I get a little upset when I visit Japan to learn Japanese. They want to speak English with me. Yeah. Yeah. Everybody does. Language school is a waste of 3 million yen. You end up getting a job because of your English. Okay.
When I went to KO, it was 600,000 for the year. So that's
But yeah. Anyway, in 1977, I went to a language school in Osaka. It was called the Kansai Kokusai Gakuen. It was specially for foreign students. I went 2 hours a day, 5 days a week for about a year. And there were also lessons of 5 hours a day every day. I remember that one time that they actually had a cafeteria, and there was a brawl in the cafeteria between the Vietnamese and the Cambodians. Okay.
those are the days.
Students. They tore the place apart. Okay. All right. Schiller says, I got here with a JLPT N3 under my belt, but I quickly realized that it's simply not enough. Tourism and immigration are two completely different experiences after all. All right.
Hey, I passed N1 like several times, and I still feel like I would like. Well, on the one hand, I feel like I would like better Japanese, but on the other hand, I feel like I would like other things too. I think maybe maybe studying Japanese is not the best use of my time. So yeah. Anyway.
Okay, Axeman Japan. Like I said before, a lot of this cultural discussion is someone wanting to play cricket on a football field while the game is on. That's said when in Rome. Okay. Cricket on a football field. See what you did, Carl?
Yes, Australian rules football.
They're
playing football on a cricket field or cricket pitch. Yes.
Yeah. Cricket diamond, right? There's a mosque in Edogawa, so clearly they can be properly built. Yeah, I mean, nobody's talking against mosques in general, for sure. But you got to follow the rules. And somebody's going to bring something up here soon. Having mosques with a questionable status is one thing, but things get way more complicated when it comes to getting an approval for Muslims to have their cemeteries. Yeah, and he points out this is what I'm talking about. Cremation is strictly prohibited in Islam, by the way. It used to be pretty strictly prohibited in the Catholic Church as well,
Mm.
but they've backed off on that. Um, but hey, I mean, if somebody belongs to a religion or a culture where cremation is prohibited, and they go and live in a country whose customs or culture always uses not almost always uses cremation or prefers cremation, either the host country has to change or the incomers have to change. Doesn't that sound reasonable?
You can also have bodies shipped internationally. I believe that's possible.
Yeah.
Um, it doesn't sound very practical. I'm not. I've never heard of it. Like I don't know of. Oh yeah, when so and so died, they had their bodies shipped back to the States or something. I've never heard of that, but in theory, I think it can happen. Um, but yeah, I mean, I understand what you're saying. Uh, you know, mm,
I know a
I
guy.
guess it's not for us to say religion should change, and I guess it's not for non-Japanese to say Japan should change. So
Well, yeah, it that's one of the things that really bugs me up sometimes, not all the time. It's not something I think about all the time. Is when gaijins come in and start bossing Japanese people around about the way they should be doing things. That's very, very irritating to me. And if you want, I'll tell you Chat GPT story about
it's probably
that.
irritating to Japanese people too.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Um, I wouldn't like it either, right? Instead of knocking it down, it looks like they could use it for a
That's Tokyo
plant.
Dano there for you.
Dano. And Dano says cremation might be Japan's wild card to keep Islam. Dano. Oh, the sorry.
Same comment.
Oh, the Muslim affiliated press and social media accounts are going to have a field day if this mosque is getting torn down. Yeah, you're right. And that's the way I perceive. And that's why I think Saitama Prefecture and Kawagoe City have been such feckless cowards over this issue, right?
But they're very shinchoni, so there's very
Yeah.
not proactive in dealing with it. It's got more implications than just one building.
Yeah. Well, well, human nature. People who were doing something they shouldn't ain't going to stop until you draw a hard, deep line in the sand. And that's just
Mm.
human nature. Okay. Nonsense. The fault in allowing this to be built lies with the council. If the council was not enforcing the law, it may have been assumed to be implied consent. I don't know what is nonsense, but that implied consent. I think you might be thinking of the squatting laws and stuff like that. Uh, I don't know. Implied consent.
So so
If you go out and murder somebody, and
they don't catch you for 3 years, and it's like, well, they do have statute of limitations, and then
not.
the expression possession is 9/10 of the law, right? So it's like, um, well, I I don't necessarily agree with Gaijin Guru, but I can see that there's an argument to be made.
Well,
So let's say the council wasn't completely innocent, or it doesn't seem that way based on this article and so from what we've been talking about so far.
what I have been saying right from the beginning is it's the biggest responsibility lies with the council, right?
Mm.
That they didn't do anything. They went there and say, stop building. And they say, we don't speak Japanese. Oh, okay. You know, and like I said, why not just send the Jieitai in there with a bulldozer and knock it down? Somebody's not enforcing the law. Now, I don't know where the word nonsense comes from. I don't know. I don't know what's nonsense, but I happen to agree that the city council should have acted more quickly. But that doesn't absolve the wrongdoers who went in there and built the thing on this land. Okay. Ednoy says an Ednoy comment. If you build it,
Yeah.
they will come.
I already thought about that. Didn't say it, but yeah.
First step, put locks on all of the entrances. They can't use it. I did read an article somewhere where the entrances have been locked and padlocked. But if I remember correctly, the article I saw said that it was the current owners of the building who put the locks on the doors, and it wasn't the city. I can't figure what the city's thinking out on this. Squatters' rights. Yeah, squatters' rights. Squatters' rights sound good, but they're not that easy to enforce. It's if the government doesn't do anything, maybe that's what they're banking on. Because squatters' rights means that you're occupying some area and nobody kicks you off of it for X number of years. Maybe that's what they're playing for. Who knows? Foreigners who break the law should be forced to follow the law. They wouldn't allow this in Dubai or UAE. There you go. Yes, Dan, head removal is not an easy procedure. Okay. Oh, sorry, I missed that. Check out what happened in Belfast recently with that Sudanese surgeon. Okay, I don't know anything about that. Dan likes
Yeah,
to
I don't know
keep
that.
track of it. Yeah. Tokyo Dan, I thought he was an engineer. Yeah. Sounds like a little bit of inside cricket here, right? You
Mhm.
know. Ed Noy says, Booty Express use Budex.
Don't know.
Don't offend the people of the desert. Mosques are used for homeschooling for children, which includes being steeped in Sharia law and keeps the children out of public school for assimilation purposes. Could be.
So actually, I worked on a project that was we were building or facilities for a country in a very international country that had people from many different countries living there, and people from different religions. So Hindus and presumably Christians and Muslims. And I remember talking to the engineers on the project, and one of the guys said, it's like, I don't want my son going to, eating lunch with a guy from that religion, because then he's going to pick up these bad habits. Like different cultures have a lot stricter rules than probably, I don't know about you, but I was like, it's like, get the food and stick it in your mouth. I didn't have strong rules about like you could use this hand or you could use that hand. So, um, so the Dennis is talking about homeschooling, and then people get trained in a certain way, and then they are not quote unquote assimilated. Yeah, I can see where there are going to be people who want their children to have different education than public education that's offered in Japan. So that could be a problem, and maybe that's part of problem that a lot of European countries are experiencing now. I don't know, but it seems like a reasonable um, hypothesis.
Well, then the question becomes, if you want to keep your children away from this foreign pollution,
Mhm.
you know,
There's a really big place called not Japan where you
Yeah.
can do this.
Ah, good question coming up. Why have immigration if the immigrants don't want to assimilate? Right. Okay. Then it's not immigration, it's an invasion, isn't it?
I was thinking
Implied
about that. Yeah. Yeah.
implied consent means that if the council does nothing while you are illegally building, it can be assumed they have given implied consent. That's how developers. Yeah, but it says in the story that they went any number of times over the years telling them to stop building, and they just ignored them, which brings me back to my question: why didn't they, get people
Hmm.
with guns to go with them and take care of that? Live next to Muslim communities, so I've learned a lot about Islam from these folks, Schindler says. Never had any issues with them, but Islam is like a separate universe with its own perception of life and death. Okay, well, separate. There's the magic word, separate. So separate. Oh yeah, speaking about the culture, there's no left hand in Islam. Okay. No left hand. No using the left hand. Hmm?
Yeah, that sounds right. I mean, I don't know, but that sounds right.
The Belfast incident is worldwide news. If you're unaware of it, is Japanese new media censoring the news? Well, I don't really follow Japanese news media that closely.
That's why we
So
have a news show here.
yeah. Uh, but the Belfast incident, I don't know what's going on at that at all. I'm sure Dan will get me up to speed. Yeah, and I can't believe that you don't know about the Sudanese incident in Belfast. Well, Dan, maybe it's because I don't. Well, anyway, I don't. Sorry for. Excuse my ignorance. Assimilation is very difficult in homogeneous societies. First two countries that come to mind are Japan and Korea. Yeah, the Japan and Korea. That's a circus in its own right. Some of my best friends are Muslim. I'm sure they are, Ed Noy. You
Well, his
being
best friends
the
in quotes.
you being the serious type of person you are. Okay. All right.
I,
Who
I honestly believe, like 99% of Muslims are generally good people. But yeah, well, some of these things are not like, is that a person a good person or bad person? It's more like a clash on society level. So,
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, well, it sure seems that they're getting a lot of bad press around the world, aren't they? Hmm.
mm. Especially in the Christian press. Yeah. Anyway, yeah.
And the Buddhist press, it seems, and the Shinto press as well.
There you go.
Okay, all right. I mean, I shouldn't have brought this up. I thought, oh man, should I even talk about this? There's another one that I have here. I'll show you the headline and then I'll leave it at that. Ah, I'll show it just for fun.
Well. Uh,
Japanese intolerance of Muslims increases as population doubles. Poorly written headline, isn't it? It's hard to
so
tell which population doubled.
yeah. Well, I mean, by common sense, we know that the Japanese population isn't doubling, so it's the Muslim population in Japan that's doubling. So
Good writing doesn't need common sense.
hmm.
Discrimination towards foreign residents. All right, occurs to Muslims. All right, that's that. Basically, the headline said it, and then it says up to 420 in 2024, up from 230,000 in 2019, almost doubled in 5 years.
Call me crass or call me whatever you want, but I think a lot of issues could be solved if Japanese made more Japanese people.
Yeah, they
I
wouldn't need
think,
all these imports.
it can't be solved overnight, but this problem has, it's not that, if the train's coming down the track, 5 miles away, and you're not moving your car off of the tracks, at some point it's going to hit you. So
I read a news report just recently saying that certain prefectures in Japan have seen a slight uptick in births and marriages.
so from
So
1.0 to 1.10
yeah,
or
maybe
something like that.
must be something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But okay, Schindler's. Yeah, I forgot to mention this. This is true too. Muslims in Japan these days are mostly Indonesians, mainly because it's the largest Muslim country in the world. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, that Indonesian Muslims are a different breed from Middle Eastern Muslims.
I think breed is not the right word.
Yeah,
So
it's a figure of.
there's Sunnis and Shias. Sorry.
Breed is the correct word if you're speaking English. Different breed does not mean breed. It means a different type. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Now that we got that straight.
So
Okay.
I think there's Sunnis and Shias are the two main sects, and by country, it's quite different. The balance is quite different. It's like Catholics and Protestants; they hate each other, right? So,
but it has nothing to do with Sunni and Shia. The point I was trying to make.
Okay.
That the Indonesian Muslims are. Maybe somebody else could say this better than I, but I know people from Indonesia, and they tell me that the wind blows hot and cold in Indonesia about keeping the rules and regulations of the Muslim faith. There are times where it gets lax and people are drinking and enjoying themselves, and then suddenly there's a crackdown, and it blows hot and cold, as far as what I've been told from somebody who's from there.
If I'm not mistaken, Indonesia has quite a significant Christian population as well, which is probably different from a lot of the countries in the Middle East. I think by far Islam is the main religion, but I think I'm going to say like 10-20% or something is Christian, and therefore maybe it has a significant larger influence than in Middle Eastern countries, and therefore need for tolerance for various religions.
Okay, let's go back to the comments.
But I was going to say, I do believe that Japan needs the help of Indonesians working in Japan, especially in like medical fields. I think there's a lot of nurses and or caregivers who are Indonesian in Japan.
Okay. Japanese should make more Japanese people, but what can get it up at home after a grueling? Yeah, there's always this, right? Grueling 12-hour workday preceded and followed by a hellacious 2-hour commute each way. Yeah, that's a lot of people point that out. Home life ain't what it is in other places. But is that lightening up these days? I don't know. I'm not the one.
So all the unemployed guys should make more Japanese people.
Yeah. Is the economy to blame for the low Japanese birth rate? I don't know. There are a lot of poor countries with high birth rates too, right?
Well, okay. So I think, and this is absolutely true. I think if 30 years ago, it was much more common for people to be employed for life. So the man would have, the husband would have a job, and his company wasn't going to fire him, and he wasn't going to let him go, and he would stay there until he retired. And then the wife would stay home. She wouldn't have a career. She would take care of the kids. And they only had one income, but the company took care of them and they were stable enough so that they could have, they weren't worried about possibly not having uh, a steady income in the future. And I think that that mindset made it much more comfortable for people to get married. So, like the woman to get married to the guy, and then to have children, and then to take care of the children. Um, I think there's a lot more factors, but I think that um, stability, so the lack of stability in employment has contributed to people's concern, fears, and therefore resulted in lower birth rate. Ed, you don't seem like you buy what I'm saying.
No, I was actually looking at my other computer. I'm not saying that I disagree with you or anything like that. You may be right, but I could trying to figure out the Japanese birth rate for a long ago because I have no idea what's going on over here.
You did your part.
Yeah, you would
you did your part. Yeah, sorry.
You would think that somebody in the position of power would have figured this out. But then again, it wasn't that long ago when the Chicken Littles of the world were running around. Maybe it's not Chicken Little, maybe it's true, but saying that there are too many people. There are too many people in the world, and if we keep having children, we're gonna start falling off the edges and things like. There were movies about it, right? And so people followed the advice and stopped having kids, and now they're saying, "What are we going to do? We don't have enough kids."
Well, China had the one child policy.
Yeah.
Well,
they did the same thing in the United States too. Like I said, there was this movie about people just kept having kids, and the world became dark and stuff like that.
Oh, is that Idiocracy or something like that?
I can't remember the name of it offhand. And then even what is it? What was that? Al Gore's book. We're going to run out of
Inconvenient Truth or something.
Yeah,
like
we're going to run out of oil by 1990 and stuff like that. And of course, natural resources, according to logic, are limited, should be limited, and we can conceptually think of using them all up, but I don't know. It's so hard. I really don't know what to think about it. So the people who are educated stop having kids, and that leaves the people who are not so educated continue to have kids. I talk about the great replacement theory. There it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, so Elon Musk is trying to do something about that.
Yeah, I mean, what is it, that old Eddie Murphy joke? When Elon comes over, the fish stop swimming.
I'm sorry, did Eddie Murphy have a joke about Elon Musk?
No. He had a joke about his band called the Bus Boys, and he was talking about singers in general and musicians. And he was saying that singers and musicians get all the women. Mm-hmm. And he said it much cruder than I'm saying it right now. And so
it was Eddie Murphy after all.
And he was saying that, as soon as, and these singers and musicians, they go after all the women. And he says, it's really something. And his group is called the Bus Boys. And he says, yeah, at my house, when the bus boys come over, the fish stop swimming.
Because they don't want to be targets of unsolicited
randy young men, right?
There you go.
Yeah. But anyway, any joke you have to explain is not a good joke. All right. So here we go. Indonesian Muslims are predominantly Sunnis that belong to Shafi'i madhab. Okay. All right. Good. Fathers are taking a more active role in child rearing. I see more fathers going to school to observe the education classes and taking their children to the grocery store for light shop. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of too.
Yeah.
It seems like it's changing, but I can't say it is, right? Okay. If you want to learn about Islam, listen to Gad Sad. That's one of Tokyo Dano's favorite guys. Uh-oh, Ednoy's at it again. Sharia, Sharia. I just met a girl named Sharia. That's pretty good, actually. All right.
Yeah.
And the fundamental principle of the Shafi depend on the idea that to every act performed by a believer who is subject to the law, there corresponds a statute belonging to the law or the Sharia. Okay? Okay. Okay. I don't know what that means, but I guess it's okay.
Okay. I wasn't going to jump in, so sorry. Yeah, I agree.
Axeman Japan says population collapse is a worldwide problem. Some people say it's like pandas in captivity. Hard to convince anyone to have babies when there are no networks of support and modeling of how to thrive. I don't know. What do you think? What do you think birth control had to do with it?
I think birth. So, I mean, there's lots of things you could say. You could say birth control. You could say Netflix. You could say like the idea of equal. So, like, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but so like if women want to compete or so want to go out into the workforce just like men, then it's like, well, who stays home and takes care of the children? I'm not saying that women should do it. I'm just saying that if neither one of them is going to do it, then you got a problem.
Carl says, treading very, very carefully.
So I think there's another issue is that like on the society level, you might say like, you know, all races should be equal, the genders should be equal, but then as an individual, you're just like, yes, but like in my case, I want to do it this way, or I'm putting my foot in my mouth pretty hard here. So I think there's so like when it comes to population decline, on the population or policy level, it's like, well, have babies. But then as an individual, it's like, yes, but I want a career. And that means that I can't have a child when I'm 23. So there's a disconnect between decisions made based on what's good for me versus decisions made on what's good for the country as a whole.
Yeah. But, well, yeah.
That was the main thing I wanted to say.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's a really hard thing because when you start talking about it, it's hard to talk about it in this day and age because you get into trouble real quick, right?
As I just showed by gagging on my foot. Yes.
Okay. All right. The village has been too deskilled to raise anyone. Yeah, this takes a village stuff. You wonder about that one, right? Lack of stability in networks and third places for children, i.e., village. Okay. Okay.
I do feel that Japan is, I mean, I guess it's hard for me to say because I'm not living in the States, but I feel like Japan is a little bit more of a village than the United States. Like kids walk to and from school. Yeah, I guess in Tokyo, people aren't talking to their neighbors, like going over to the neighbors for tea and stuff like that. So maybe it isn't a village. I don't know.
Yeah, Japan is moving away from a lot of that too, right?
Hmm.
Much more slowly than they are in the US. So some of the old Japanese way remains. But I can see, especially Tokyo, right? I mean,
Hmm.
my neighbors, I never, I see them in the
Yeah.
hallway sometimes, say hello, but that's about it, right? And that's the way they like it.
Actually, it's kind of. I was thinking, it's like, well, maybe the village is still still survives in the countryside. So, um, I feel like, so like when I lived in a small town, and that's part of it is because it was 30 years ago and there was no internet, and part of it is probably because it was the countryside and not big city or the bed town or suburbs or whatever. So
Yeah, and a lot of this stuff, acting as a village, um, this, all right, back to the mosque thing and the Muslim
hmm
thing and the
hmm
kids stuff. A lot of this stuff is time filling, right?
hmm
Because people have a lot of time. So let's have a festival. Let's all get together and get drunk and this kind of stuff. But now people don't have much patience for that kind of thing. They've got their own things that they want to do on the internet and online and stuff like that. People who are able to do that kind of thing. So I think that brings people apart. Probably when you were younger too, if you were a young guy and you wanted to hook up with some chick, you had to go out. You had to go somewhere and get together and meet
hang
up
out at the
and
mall.
hang out, go down to the Dairy Queen or whatever,
hmm
But you don't have to do that anymore, it seems. I guess people still do, but it's not a essential
Swipe
part of
right.
life. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. Solient Green.
you know that,
Okay.
right?
Yeah, I know that's famous what, book or yeah,
Movie, yeah.
movie. Yeah. I think yeah, okay. Born and raised by those who praise control of population, RHCP.
Raised by
Okay.
those who praise.
RHCP, that sounds like a British thing, right? Royal. I'm sure you'll let us know, Schindler. Are natural resources limited? Maybe the earth is always creating new natural resources. It's a living thing. You got earthquakes every time there is an earthquake. Well, since we can't measure natural resources, I guess your guess is as good as mine.
It feels like we're finding, so like, you know, talking about specific natural resources like coal or oil, I guess easily available coal and oil in a specific place, like sometimes you get to the end of it. But it seems like, for example, you mentioned Gore earlier. I think Gore probably wrote that book before fracking was a big thing. And so we're inventing new ways to find more stuff. And if we ever get on the full solar bandwagon, you know, as Elon Musk would have you believe, like a corner of New Mexico can provide all the energy for all the United States in just like 100 square miles of New Mexico covered with solar panels. Um, so there's a lot of natural resources, and we're probably not going to run out as long as we figure out ways of getting at them.
Well, my point was that not that they are limited. My point was that it's easy to rationalize that they're limited, right?
hmm
You
hmm
know,
hmm
you keep using something, it's going to run out someday, and that's the whole
That's sort of
basis of
common
this.
logic,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
yeah, and that's what these guys use when they're saying that kind of thing.
Yep.
So there was something about you talking about solar energy that doesn't seem to be, and I don't know, maybe the next presidential election it'll change. But I came across an article just when getting ready for this live stream. The U.S. is getting ready to ramp up its nuclear power plant building
hmm
business.
hmm
And one of its biggest customers is going to be good old Nippon, right?
Oh,
Uh,
I think GE sold Japan Fukushima,
no,
or maybe Westinghouse.
I'm talking about the future. Yeah, that the U.S. that they're getting ready to expand their nuclear power plant business, and that this Japan earmarked all this money to go to the U.S. the last time they were together, and that the Japan is going to start purchasing and importing U.S. nuclear power plant technology. I was wondering about that, right?
History repeats itself. But hopefully the next one is safer. But yes, I believe that. So, ironically, after the Fukushima incident, Germany said that they were going off nuclear, and they did, and maybe they regretted it. At least some people did. But Japan was like, no, we're not going off nuclear. We're just rethinking it. Which I thought was ironic that a different country went off nuclear, but Japan's like, no, staying the course.
In fact, while we were talking, let me go over. Come on, there you go. U.S. eyes Japanese funded. U.S. eyes Japanese funding for nuclear revival. Lutnick said, "Who the heck? Oh, he's a Commerce Secretary."
Yeah.
U.S. will use part of Japan's $550 billion investment pledge to build and expand nuclear power plants, aiming to take a leading position to export around the world. So I guess they said no more, not no more, but they've lost their confidence in solar.
There you go, Westinghouse.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Westinghouse has been a leader in that kind of, or a big name in that kind of thing for a long time.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So maybe the pressure is creating some more oil somewhere. Yeah, might be ready in a couple million years. My opinion is social media made social norms a bubble of unrealistic, unlivable expectations. People just give up instead of publicly failing to meet an unrealistic ideal. Yeah. Social media. Social media takes a lot of blame. In my opinion, Japan fell into the same trap as the rest of the developed nations. Raising a child got too expensive, and the social networks are too limited, not to mention the human racing that never stops. Yeah. And, I mean, the way economics are now, I mean, when you're producing, when you're taking all your money and shipping it off to another country, I still wonder about the economic wisdom of something like that, right? Because that's what happens. All right, the money goes from here to there, so we can get these cheap things. I wonder about that, but I am not an economist. So, for your FYI, someone mentioned pandas. I recently found out that there is a word for a group of pandas. Believe it or not, it's called an embarrassment. Seriously. Wow. Maybe we should rename this live stream the Panda Club. Wouldn't that
People
be
might
cool?
get the wrong idea.
Yeah. Japan has a much better village than most places. Yes. Yeah. Comparatively.
Yeah, I kind of
absolutely
agree. Yeah.
However, parents are much more liable than ever for mistakes. The village in the countryside is brain drained by cities. Legacy is dead there. Yeah. Yeah, the countryside brain drain is really bad in this country. And people say it other countries too. So Dennis says, keep that group of pandas away from a flock of crows. Okay. Crows is not a flock.
Isn't it a murder?
Something like that. Yeah.
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 Where does English get off on all these weird group names? Just like, why don't you just call them a group, a flock, or a bunch? It's like, just choose one of the three.
Yeah. Ed Noy says, Carl, I find the residents of Miyajima to be very endearing.
Endearing, yes. Yeah, Yes, I see the spelling there. Yes.
Yeah.
Miyajima is a lovely place. And
Yeah.
if you live there, you can experience the village, but if you're just visiting, you're not part of the village.
Oh,
It's a nice
really?
place to
Okay.
visit, but yeah, anyway.
Okay. And somebody confirms? Okay. Soylent Green is neither a book nor a movie. Soylent Green is
Is
people.
people. Yeah.
Okay. RHCP. Red Hot Chili. I thought it was the Royal House of
Corporal
whatever.
punishment. Yeah.
Corporal Punishment.
Yeah.
Ha ha, an embarrassment of pandas. I think that'd be more fitting for some classes of human beings. Yahoo! Al Gore, a Nobel Prize Award recipient. Al Gore. Yes.
Nobel.
Nobel. Jay bears are very clever because they are smarter than the average bear. Hey!
Hey, boo boo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
boo boo. Yeah. I was gonna make a joke and I backed off, but Adenoy doesn't back off. I was gonna say Japan's countryside is becoming very bearable these days. No.
Unbearable.
Yeah. But it's getting bad though, huh? The bears. Every day we've got bear news.
Yeah.
I have kids who are 6 and 8, by the way. We are doing well with my in-laws living a block away, and I got my mortgage before prices skyrocketed. I definitely worry for my kids. Okay.
They could just move to the countryside to get a free Akia. No, not free.
But you know, if there's one thing for sure,
That wasn't a serious comment, by the way.
if there's one thing for sure, things change. I mean, that sounds so stupid, but it's true, right? They can change on a dime. I mean, I was here when the bubble burst and things changed. You never know what's going to happen tomorrow. Lost their confidence in solar. China has 80% market share. Trump government doesn't want solar nor windmills, also owned by China. Okay. Okay. Uh-oh. Ed Noy's going crazy. Pandemonium.
Yes.
Yes.
You're such an embarrassment.
There's enough thorium to meet the power needs of the world for 1,000,000 years. It's more difficult and presently costs more, but I think that's the future.
We haven't heard from David Cole in a while. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice to hear your comments.
Yeah.
Isn't China like starting with China or maybe India? And I think maybe India actually has a lot of thorium, and so for the people who don't know, thorium is an alternative fuel to uranium that could be used with a different reaction for nuclear power plants. And the people who like thorium say it's much safer. There's no nuclear meltdowns because you have to sort of actively keep it going. And for years, people have said, "Oh, thorium, thorium, thorium," and I guess the others say, "Nah, that's a pipe dream." But I think India and China are moving forward with trying to develop the technology.
Okay. Is that one thorium, two thoria?
I think it's thorium and thoriums. No.
If it was thoria, then you could make a song. Thoria, thoria. We're getting silly here.
Yes, I think we started out silly. Where it's just like when you drink, then like the.
I can't let Ed Noy get all the laughs, right? Axeman Saban says a group of gaijin are called idiots, according to Japanese people. Yeah. Got to agree with them there, too, sometimes. Saw both RHCP and RATM at the first ever Fuji Rock Festival, wild event that took place during a fierce typhoon. RATM. Anybody? Red Hot Chili Peppers and Rotten Apple.
No.
No. Okay. I'm sure we'll know.
The Ruddles or something like that, maybe.
The Ruddles. The world should be run on Valium. Okay. Oh look!
I
Oh
think it would
look!
slow things down a little bit, right?
Oh look! I made it to the Saturday show. Hey guys, yeah, it's because we're going so late. It's probably later in the morning there. Hi, that's it. How you doing? Nice to see you here. And David Cole says Denmark's Copenhagen Atomics are actively developing small modular thorium reactors. Okay, cool.
Hey, if that happens, that would be awesome.
Use 11 says helium crystals on the moon will be the next super fuel. Okay. Take your word for it. I don't know anything about helium crystals on the moon. Rage Against the Machine.
I thought helium was inert, so I'm not sure how that turns into fuel, but yeah, why not?
Rage Against the Machine. That's RATM. See, I don't know those groups. 5:30. Yep.
What was their highest hit on the country charts?
Rage Against the Machine. Yeah. Actually, I've been all these years. Mostly, I've been listening to country music, so I don't know many of these young new whippersnappers. I quit listening to pop music probably around the '90s, early 2000s. That's why I love. I think I mentioned this before. Eurythmics. I used to like the Eurythmics.
Okay, that's not country.
No. She had me when she said like a red hot wire that's stuck into my brain. Love that. Love the lyrics. Okay. All right. Oh, I think I don't have any more news stories of note. And we've been at this for 2.5 hours, even though it's been such a good and active discussion here. Eurythmics were new wave. Yeah, they sure were, weren't they? Annie Lennox, right?
Yeah.
And
who's the other guy in the Eurythmics?
I forgot his name. Yeah, I only pay attention to the chicks, right? Do you know?
I do not know, but it's like Eurythmics, like everybody would say, that's two people, and Annie Lennox was one of them, and some guy. So it just feels like there's a disparate, like in a group of like the Beatles, like you kind of need to know all their names, right?
Oh, I just saw his name, Dave Stewart. Dave Stewart, manga.
Okay.
I just checked real quick, Dave Stewart, and I remembered the name. Yeah. And I remembered the name as soon as I saw it, but Annie Lennox was the only one, I don't, like I said, I don't pay much attention to the guys, right? I noticed something about your Swiss chalet there,
Yeah.
You've spent a couple hours there and, the sun
hasn't moved. It's still sunny outside. Yes, because I'm in Switzerland. I just had my lunch.
Okay. Yes. I went to Gillies in Doha and they played Turban Cowboy. Ed Noit.
Not Urban Cowboy.
I heard this was way back, way back before all of this, before the internet and all this other stuff. And they used to on the base radio that would broadcast, and in those days there wasn't much international radio like we have now. So all of us used to tune into the base radio and listen to what they did. And they used to have various disc jockeys from the U.S. doing their shows. And they had Wolfman Jack and all this kind of, and there was one other guy, I forgot his name, but he told a joke. Are you ready for this?
Yep.
He used to do voices. So he's talking to one of the characters on his show. And this guy said, they're talking about country music, and his character said, and Iran. You know, Khomeini
Mhm.
had just taken over Iran, and
Mm,
this guy
mm,
says,
mm, mm,
"Yeah,"
mm.
he says, I heard country music's really popular over there in Iran." And this guy says, "What? What are you talking about? American country music is popular. They hate Americans over there." And what are you talking about? He says, "Yeah, there's this big country band over there. They're making all kinds of waves." And he says, "Yeah, what's the name of the group?" He says, "They call it the Shiite Kickers."
Shiite kickers. Oh,
Yeah.
shite kickers, shit kickers.
Shit,
Okay.
shit kicker.
The Shiite
Yeah.
kickers. Yeah, okay.
So that cracked me up at the time. I thought it was funny. Now it'd probably get you in all kinds
Get
of
you
trouble.
banned, yes.
Yeah. Carl, did you get the appropriate permits from your prefectural government to build that chalet?
I must say that this is an Airbnb, and therefore I'm not involved with the building and the permit. So tomorrow I'm out of here. So it's not my problem.
Sounds shaky to me, right? You sound like the
Yeah,
ambassador of Pakistan over there, you know.
sure.
Okay. Enjoyed the conversation. Movie night with the missus. Catch you next week from California if I can sync it right. Cheers. Okay. Ednoy liked it. Hey, I made Ednoy laugh. Yay. Okay. Maybe that's it. Carl's getting ready to start yawning. Me too. And
Uh,
where's our resident Japan gambler? His horse won. Okay. Way to go. Maybe he's out partying. Maybe he moved to a better house or something like that. He'll be around eventually. That's good. Good for him. I hope he bet a lot on it. Well, everybody, let's call it a day. We'll see you. I'll see you again on Wednesday for sure. Carl, maybe we'll see, and we'll call it a day for today. Boy, this is a good one. 2 hours and 41 minutes. Take it easy and have a nice weekend. What's left of it.
okay, see you
Bye.
guys. Oyasumi
Bye.
nasai.